Hey guys, welcome to another video on YouTube, in my channel obviously. Today we're going to be figuring out what would happen if AI took over everyone's job and pretty much just how would the economy work to a degree. So let's get into this video and see what the dealio is all about.
Companies have been trying to cut down on workers for as long as those workers have demanded pay and benefits. Whether it's
I heard that Amazon is cutting back a lot on people.
downsizing, outsourcing, streamlining, understaffing, or automating, if there is something a business can do to get rid of workers and their salaries, you better believe they are going to do it. But this time does feel a little bit different.
I feel like companies have every right to implement AI and replace people if they wanted to. Uh, it obviously really sucks, but it's just the future and it is what it is.
Recent AI advances have been mocked for not quite living up to the bold claims of their tech bro founders. But even in their current imperfect form, LLMs, general use robots, and generative models are already replacing jobs, and they are getting better every day.
I feel like there's a good side to AI and a bad side to AI.
So
If AI starts using things to like mess with people's security, like their personal life stuff, it could be a bit stinky.
that's bad for workers. But if you're a senior corporate executive or company owner, maybe you should be asking yourself, if we automate everybody's job, who is going to buy all of your shit?
Yeah, if no one works, I feel like if they come to the point where AI or just robots and all that jazz are a majority in a workforce, I feel like the government would somehow implement a system where people would still be getting money monthly. I don't know how a system would work, but I'm sure something would come up.
A new study out today predicting almost half of all global jobs could be affected by artificial intelligence.
That 40% of
By window.
all jobs around the world will be impacted by AI.
And found AI could replace 300 million full-time jobs, including positions in the legal and
The sad part is I've already heard that it's really hard to find a job nowadays. So once AI goes balls deep into the work industry, I feel like it's just going to be harder and harder for people to find jobs. And I feel like there'll be a point where we'll end up with a bunch of homeless people until they find a system for this situation.
engineering fields.
So far, there are 9 robots here doing the work of more than 250 humans.
I think if you want to have a job security in the future, it needs to be into like being an electrician or something,
Some good
or becoming a robotic engineer.
news and some bad news for your theoretical company. The good news is that labor reduction systems of all varieties have already cut out millions of man hours in America alone and made the workers who are left more efficient at their jobs. Artificial intelligence is just another tool that your company can use to get more work out of fewer staff or replace teams entirely. Even here at Little Old Works Media Group, we used to have someone working part-time whose job it was to cut out images on Photoshop to use in our goofy little animations. Now, Adobe Suite has inbuilt AI features which can automatically remove back.
I feel like a lot of people also who aren't in like a company expect the company to pay for everyone and not replace them. But at the end of the day, the company's there to make a profit, and if they have to let go with people and replace them with AI, it's completely in their right to. And if people want to get mad and ride against that company, they also have that option too. But if it's a big enough company, at the end of the day, it's going to end up being okay. Unless, of course, you can get enough people to go against this so-called company.
Backgrounds from any image with absolutely no human time or skill involved.
Yeah, the Pick Monkey or whatever photo editing thing I do for my thumbnails also has that where it removes the background.
Now, we love our editors, so we gave him more work editing our history videos. But there are a lot of companies that now don't need to or don't want to employ people for these simple jobs. According to a survey of 697 companies conducted by Metrigy, a research and strategic advisory firm, whatever that means, companies who did not use AI in calendar 2023 hired 89% more agents than those who did use AI.
And I'm sure there's also going to be companies that want to keep actual people working. So I'm sure there's going to be companies out there who purposely avoid AI to have more people interactions. And it might be very interesting down in the future too, where there'll be dedicated human working facilities. Uh, like let's say a store, like a grocery store, will purposely just keep one store full of people. So when you go there, you don't have to deal with bots. You can it feel like a traditional environment like back in the day before AI took over everything.
In their contact centers. For existing employees, it was even worse. When AI was added to a contact center, 36.8% of companies laid off an average of 26.1% of their employees.
That's a lot.
These alarming numbers were within just 1 year. And just within call centers, which have already been hit by outsourcing, understaffing, and automation harder than most other professional services. For now. So, congratulations. Your business now has reduced headcount and significantly reduced expenses.
One thing you could probably do for a while yet is airplanes. So I don't think a majority of people would be comfortable with an AI flying a plane.
But here comes the bad news. In 1914, Henry Ford doubled the salary of his factory workers to $5 per day. The story goes he did this because he wanted all of his employees to be able to afford a Ford Model T of their own, boosting company revenue. Now,
Question, what's preventing them from buying something else?
this is basically complete nonsense. In reality, Ford just wanted to reduce staff turnover and deny talent to up-and-coming car companies like Dodge to maintain his monopoly over the growing automobile industry. But as with every
Snaky move.
good fairy tale, there is a nugget of truth in there. If the employment rate suddenly drops as hard as it did in the call centers from the study in every company around the world, then companies will undeniably struggle with reduced revenue, as people without jobs don't have the buying power they once did, and even people with jobs will cut back out of fear that they might be next. But there is a business plan that you, as a hypothetical titan of industry, might want to consider so that this isn't a problem. And that's just making stuff exclusively for other wealthy business owners while diverting resources away from people who have nothing to offer you that can't be done more efficiently by a machine or a cheaper worker on the other side of the world. Now, if you think that sounds a bit crazy,
It's pretty sad how a lot of people would hire people from other parts of the world just so they could get cheap labor. I feel like if your starting wage, let's say in Canada, is obviously this isn't real, but like let's say it's $10. If you go to hire someone at a different country, I feel like you should be doing the same amount of money, like $10 Canadian. Translate that to whatever currency it is. This is my thought, but at the end of the day, company will obviously try and find and be as scummy as they can when it comes to money saving.
you should know that it's already kind of happening. And the best place to see it is in video games. Yes, those occasionally fun distractions from real life are the perfect example of this shift happening in the real world right now. So let me cook. According to
Okay, well,
Grandview
let him
Research,
cook.
the video game industry is now bigger than the movie, music, and television industries combined.
That's just absolutely disgusting.
And it has honed in its most profitable strategy. Free-to-play games are ironically some of the most profitable games on the market because they have perfected a business strategy called freemium pricing. Most people will play their games for free, but a select few, affectionately
Don't show Genshin.
known in the industry as whales, will spend thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars on a single game to unlock in-game perks that would be almost
I feel like a lot of free to play games like Genshin and stuff like that. It's just gambling at the end of the day.
impossible to obtain as a free user. It's important that these games still have free users though, because without them, the whales would have nobody to show off to or
The companies make their money from like the 5% who spend a lot of money on the game.
hone with their paid for advantages. In a world where people are looking for budget-friendly forms of entertainment, the game industry has realized that the best way to turn a profit is to cater to those who have the financial means, or at the very least, the credit limit, to spend
Mobile does that much? Oh my gosh. Console does like nothing. That makes me feel a bit better.
ridiculous amounts of money on a video game. The people who have the most financial means don't work for their money. They own income-producing assets. And if automation does replace jobs on an even more widespread scale, that will make your ability to work less valuable and simultaneously income-producing assets more valuable.
I feel like also if your work becomes filled with bots and stuff and lowers the value, of your work spot, it would also decrease the value of what the money you would originally make. So if you originally made like 20 bucks an hour, all of a sudden you got bots and stuff, and now your job potentially is now only worth $15 an hour.
The rate of change in AI and automation makes the future impossible to predict. But if the people investing in these technologies want to see a financial return on that investment, they are going to learn what the game industry already has. There is more money to be made by catering to other rich people, and everybody else can be kept around as entertainment. Now, if you think that sounds a
Sounds
bit depressing,
yeah, that does sound a little bit depressing.
well, welcome to this channel. But also, I should tell you that market trends already say this is happening. AI isn't going to change your world. It's just going to continue a trend that's already been happening for years now. So it's time to learn how money works to find out how companies are adapting to a world
Oh geez, I gotta learn how money works? Oh boy.
where nobody can afford anything anymore. This week's lesson is sponsored by Brilliant. Brilliant is
I
an
should use this code. Brilliant. Cool. More replies.
how money works or click the link in the description. You'll also get 20%
Yeah,
off
make sure you guys use this code for start of a 30 free day trial.
an annual premium subscription. In the 1992 movie Glengarry Glen Ross, the iconic Always Be closing scene has Alec Baldwin's character bragging to another salesman about driving an $80,000 BMW. Adjusted for $1992, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that would be the equivalent of just under
Good
$182,000
lord.
today.
I make about this much a year.
That is a very expensive automobile, to be sure. But these days, if you drive around a major city, you are likely to see
That would be Canadian, not US.
dozens of cars that cost that much or more, and they probably wouldn't even stand out that much. According to company sales data and historic records, Lamborghini has sold more cars in the last 10 years alone than it did in all the rest of the company's history combined.
I think also when people start becoming broke, like a handful of people, they end up spending more money on things they can't afford. If I'm not mistaken.
Because there is simply a bigger market for $300,000 cars than ever before. The same general trend is true for other extreme luxury brands like Bentley, Ferrari, Patek Philippe, luxury groceries at Erewhon,
I don't think I'd ever buy a fancy vehicle, even if I had the money. Maybe like one, but nothing crazy like a Lamborghini. There's no need for that. I'd probably just have like a nice truck,
gym memberships that
and not a
cost
full size truck. Screw that. Like a nice medium to small size truck.
more than
The
rent,
Japanese little trucks. Oh my gosh, I would love one of those.
hotels that make Hilton look like a Holiday Inn, and to top it off, private jets are all now
Private jets are so dumb. Like what? Oh my gosh, just fly not privately.
way more popular than they ever have been. One thing that often gets lost in discussions of wealth
But then
inequality
again, I guess once you get certain rich, there could be a bounty over your head, so you want to make sure you're flying safely as possible.
is that, yes, billionaires are getting richer, but there are also far more rich people around than ever before, and it's because the value of an hour of human labor has stayed more or less stagnant, while the value of an asset and the availability of credit has skyrocketed. People who held onto an even modest portfolio over the last 4 years now have enormous fortunes. Certain individuals got incredibly lucky with good investments, and other people accessed
Like Bitcoin.
easy
I was
credit
too young, but if I knew about Bitcoin, oh man.
to get absolutely jacked to the tits on leverage and ride the longest asset bull run in history. Very few people have made modern fortunes through work alone. And you might have even noticed how investing went from something that you should do to secure your retirement to something you need to do to have any quality of life at all.
That's what I got going for first home time buyer, and then retirement. I have them in a investment thing.
If robots really do take over, then it will just continue to push the value of an hour of human work down, because it could be done by a machine instead. And it will rally the value of assets because business owners and investors will benefit from the free labor substitute. This is where people point to policy fixes like a universal basic income. If you haven't heard about this idea by now, that's impressive. But it's basically a government payment made to everybody, regardless of personal financial conditions, that should be enough to cover basic living expenses.
I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that Canada might be doing that, where each month every Canadian gets $2,000 a month. I don't know if this is true or not, but it'd be cool if it was because an extra $2,000 a month would be very helpful. Unless you have to pay that junk back at like tax season. In that case, you keep it. Screw you.
It's been proposed as a solution to keep the whole system going if people can't earn an income for themselves because their labor has been outsourced or automated. But that is still not a desirable outcome for anybody. If comprehensive automation of human labor gets as far as needing this, then you will fall into one of two defined classes of people.
Also, I feel like if people stop working, they would end up getting depressed and very, very bored. I think as much as people might not like work, I feel like work also helps them stay motivated or like busy, I guess. Because you can only do so much. I don't know exactly where I was going with that, but yeah, I feel like work is just important for the mindset of people. Also, of course, you don't like your job. It's best to look for a job you do enjoy.
You will either be getting by based on a government lifeline, or you will be in the class of people that own the businesses complaining about all the taxes they need to pay to fund that lifeline.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure the big companies would end up having to pay a lot of taxes if something like that were to happen.
I find it a little bit easier to sympathize with one of those groups. But there are still no winners. Just last week, the results of one of the most comprehensive universal basic income experiments was published. The research gave 1,000 people living in Texas and Illinois $1,000 a month with no conditions attached. To qualify for this study, their 2019 household income had to be less than 300% of the federal poverty line, or $37,470 for an individual. There was also an unlucky control group of 2,000 people who were only given $50 a month. This is because when your personal finances are being studied, you are more likely to be careful about your spending decisions. And the researchers wanted to control for these changes.
$50 a month, that's nothing.
The study itself was funded by an organization called Open Research, which is not technically affiliated with OpenAI, but they are both managed by Sam Altman, who has been very vocal about how this technology could displace billions of jobs. Now, if you ever find yourself running an AI startup that burns millions of dollars a day, then one of the best ways to...
I feel like also the humans always adapt to the scenarios of change. I feel like it's going to be a little rough for the humans to do this change with the AI stuff, just because technology is advancing so fast, probably faster than what us humans can adapt to. So I'm sure there will be a point in time where things are pretty rough, but I'm sure we'll get through it and we'll find out a system.
To ensure that you keep...
Unless we purposely slow things down a little bit for us to catch up and figure something out.
Keep that investor money coming is to pretend to be really scared about how your technology is going to replace workers, because, well, replacing workers is really exciting to investors. So realistically, this study was probably little more than a marketing stunt conducted by one of the best funded
It's kind
organizations.
of sad how there could be people excited to get rid of workers. Obviously, you'll save money in the long run, but like, let's at least try and keep people.
In the space. But that doesn't mean that the results aren't still interesting. The key results related to employment was that the group that received the $1,000 payment ended up earning significantly less for themselves than the control group. After the payment was accounted for, they still earned more. But $12,000 alone is not enough to live anywhere in America without other forms of support.
Of course not.
All households ended up earning more. But that was largely because this experiment started right at the beginning of...
How much would someone need, where at least where I live, to be able to live comfortably? Because rent here is kind of disgusting. So let's say $1,500 a month for rent. You times that by 12. That'd be I don't know. That'd be a lot of money. And then food and stuff. Yeah. I feel like you need at least $4,000 a month.
COVID, when employment particularly...
And then when you're in cities like Vancouver and stuff, I'm sure you need at least like an additional $2,000 on top of that.
in low-wage professions was hurt by lockdowns. The reason the researchers gave as to why households receiving the subsidy ended up earning less money for themselves was because many people took it as an opportunity to cut down on how much they were working and commit more time to
I
leave.
think that's also a bad problem if also in Canada were to do that, where they give every Canadian citizen $2,000 a month. Is a lot of people like, oh, I don't need to work as much now, I'm just going to quit. Instead of, oh, this is a perfect opportunity now for me to continue working and put this extra money I have towards the side or to get my bills paid off sooner. And think about my future. I think a lot of people have an issue where they don't think long term. They think of, oh, I got money now. Let's do what I can with this money now, instead of trying to think, what can I do with this money 5, 10, 20 plus years from now?
Leisure and looking after their family. This fits the optimistic idea of an AI future where we can have machines do everything for us while we just relax and collect universal basic income. But the findings still told a story of people who were financially struggling. Mental health improved because people were less stressed, but those improvements faded by the end of the first year. Food security also increased, but again only in the first year, as even people with additional income fell victim to rising living expenses, and that was when they could work to earn additional money. When compared to being plunged into poverty, it's an okay compromise. But this isn't going to happen overnight. Outsourcing turned entire cities in America into ghost towns, but it happened so slowly that big changes like this never got addressed.
I would love to go to like a ghost town. I think that'd be so much fun.
The endgame for people investing into automation is to build that automated utopian future. The endgame for everyone else is to make sure that they aren't excluded from it. Now, if you want to get these videos a day early and get articles that can never be made into YouTube videos, then be sure to subscribe to my email newsletter linked in the video description. Now, while everybody is worried about not getting enough work, there is one country that has decided the solution is getting people to work 6 days a week.
6 days? Oh my gosh. I'm fine with 5 days a week. If it was once in a while, 3 days or 4 days a week instead of 5, I'd be okay with that, aka the long weekends for holidays. But I wouldn't want to have a 3-day weekend all the time. I feel like I would just get too bored. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you guys think about this whole scenario. If you agree with me or not, where companies have every right to fire people and replace them with AI, but at the end of the day, is it a humane thing to do? Because I feel like if you can keep people, obviously try and keep them, but it's just a big stinky situation. Now when it comes to AI pictures and stuff like that, I'll use that, I'll make that, but yeah, anyways, I will catch you guys all. I think this will be a Thursday video, so I believe I'll catch you guys on Monday. You guys have a good one and take care, and God bless you, and peace. Oh, also don't forget to subscribe to this channel. The link's in the video. This video, it will be in the description. Bye.